Hello there and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to build update number 1 of this retro kit. Okay, I suppose you could call it a retro kit. It's an old kit, the old Tiger one. Now if you haven't watched the unboxing, I do recommend you go back and watch the unboxing, because I will reference it at various points, just like now. If you did watch the unboxing, you'll know that it's a very small parts count in this kit. A lot of the stuff is already pre-molded on. One of the things that I pointed out in the unboxing was what it said on the cover, what it said on the lid. If under the age of 10, some modelling skills may be required. And I made the joke then that, in other words, if you're over 10, it doesn't really matter if you've got modelling skills or not. And you know, as I've sort of looked through it, yeah, pretty much that actually. It's very basic, very inaccurate, but then again, I'm not a river counter, and I don't care that it's inaccurate. I know it's inaccurate. It would be, say, the perfect kit for somebody that really into scratch building, very good at it, and you know, they can build a lot of the parts themselves and make them a bit better. You know, you could do a lovely job with this if you were into the old scratch building, but I'm not. And I'm going to make the kit as is, out of the box, and just see what you get, what was available back in the day. Okay, so we're going to get started. As usual, we'll start by the instructions. Because there's very little bits in this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, say, maybe 2 or 3 steps at a time, and then come back and we'll discuss how they went and what they look like when they're done, and the usual things like that. So let's carry on and let's get it built. Okay, so here's the instructions. We start off like most Tigers anyway. We start off with the wheels. Now, as you can see, they're pretty basic, and you know, when you look at the whole thing when it's made, that's not exactly how the Tiger wheels looked. No, it's not exactly how the Tiger wheels looked. And it gives you this little jig. Okay, you have to cut it off the sprue. Right, that's for setting up your wheels. Okay, so it's quite simple. These are the bottom ones, lay the top ones on it, then lay on the other wheels. In step 2, we're attaching the wheels, so you get your jig and you hold it up to the thing and you pop them onto the yoke, and you put on all the little sort of same idea as a polycap. They're rubber like a polycap. They work the same way, but they're the engine or the wheel nuts. Okay, so we're getting those fitted. So those 2 steps, pretty straightforward. And in step 3, what we're doing is we're getting the back plate made. Okay, we've got the air cleaners, we've got the exhaust pipe and the exhaust cover shields, fitting on the air cleaners, fitting on the jack, the starter and toolbox. Now, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We'll get them done, we'll come back, we'll have a look at what all that looks like. And we're back, and as you can see, I have them all marked off, so therefore that means they're done. Okay, so there we go, there's our wheels. And as you can see what I mean about the not very accurate. Okay, because as we all know, Tiger wheels were not like that. There was a kind of a double thing here, and it was actually 3 wheels, and excuse me. But seriously, it wasn't that way. But it's grand, because when you look at it from the front and the sides, it's basically okay, you know. There's that pre-molded on stuff there. I don't like that. It's actually quite freaking horrible. What I might even do is I might leave on the lugs and kind of shave off. No, I'm not. No, I'm going to leave everything as is and do it the way they intended it. Whether to show how funny it looks for a finish or not, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, we're going to build it out of the box. Right, so that's step 1 and step 2. And step 3 was making this piece. Now this piece was a little more interesting in making it. With the air filters here, with these air filters, when you put them together, there was a gap. And they just, it wasn't quite that nice of a gap. So I'm after using a bit of a sprue filler, filling them all up there. I'm going to give them a rub of some light sanding stick, and hopefully that will kind of rough it up a bit, and to kind of take off that divot that was left there, because there was in the moulding there was a divot there, and it was in all the pieces, and it wasn't actually where the sprue gate was. The sprue gate was actually in a different spot. The sprue gate was on the side, but on the top, where they go on the top, just left a little divot. There's nothing more I can do about that. I know I could take a lot more time and get it right, but like I said, it's pretty basic kit. We're just going to carry on and see how it all works out. Alright, so there we go. That's step 3. There's our back plate made. So don't go referencing in the comments how inaccurate it is. We know that. We know it's inaccurate. I don't want to know any more about it. Okay. There's lots of little inaccuracies in it. Things are, a lot smaller than they should be in certain areas. Like here, there's the toe hitch thing there. That's tiny compared to what it would be on the normal one. When I've got it made, before I get it painted, I've got a couple of other Tigers there, and I think I do have an early Tiger. I don't think it's got that type of air filter, but it's got this more square boxy ones, but everything else is kind of pretty much the same. And we can compare sizes and how everything looks, on it. Right, so there we go. There is step 3. Now, on now to step 4. Oh yes, I left this out for a reason. This thing here, how did we get a hair in there? Abby must have been up here. Anyway, very, very handy. Very, very handy for making them the way they said it, because you just put them on, glue them on, leave it on, they dry, and the whole thing just transfer it over. So simple, very, very nice, very nice little idea. Pity it wasn't more accurate, but what the hell. Okay, step 4. Step 4 has us fitting the drive sprockets. Well, it has us making the drive sprockets first, then fitting the drive sprockets. Okay. It also has us putting in 2 polycap type things, connectors for joining the top to the bottom. I probably won't be using them, although I probably will use them, but I'll be gluing the top down, because it'll probably tell you not to cement the top down, so you can get into it for changing batteries and things, but it's not a battery operated one, because as you can see, it's all cut out there for the motor and the batteries and things. Remember, these kits were originally made as a toy, a remote control toy, and then they kind of, I'd love to get it as a toy. Believe me, I would. I'd love to get it if it had a twin motor and a proper remote control. It'd be cool. It would be quite fun, but unfortunately it's not. Okay. Also has us fitting the idler wheels and the back plate. Okay. So that's step 4. And step 5 then I won't do step 6, but I'll do step 4 and step 5. Step 5 now, we're putting the toe ropes on, an aerial, the whole air filter, pipe work, some of the tools, the drivers and the driver and the co-drivers, we call them the co-driver, the bow machine gunner, their hatch covers, shovel in the front, a couple of handles, the vision block and the hull machine gun. Okay, so that's step 4 and step 5, and at that basically the thing will be done, really, as in the body should be as good as done. Oh yeah, we've got lights on as well. Now, and also you can make it that these hatches open, but I don't see the point, so I'm just going to glue them down. Yeah, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't actually see the point in making them to be cemented down. I'm going to cement them down. Don't see the point otherwise. Like I said, it's only going to be a quick build. It's going to be a shelf queen sitting up on the shelf, looking nice, and well, hopefully looking nice anyway. So we'll get them done. We'll come back, we'll have a look at it, and we'll see how all that went, how bad or how good it was. Okay. Okay, so I'm after getting all that done, right? I'm after fitting the drive sprockets, the rear plate. I'm after putting all the little pieces together for the air cleaners, all the other accessories and things. The reason I don't sound too enthusiastic basically is this kit is basically a load of crap. I can see how much of a long way the TAMIYA have actually come. Now, don't get me wrong, the fit is absolutely perfect in it, you know. The mouldings, they're a bit basic, but you know, where these things say that they're going to fit, they do fit, and they fit quite well. It's just little things, lots of little things that, you know, as you do it, you go, ugh, that's so horrible, or whatever. I did all that anyway, and I kind of skipped ahead. I'm after fitting the plate to the bottom piece to that. Okay, I'm fitting the top to the bottom. So here we go. There's a look at that all together. Right now, when it's together, it doesn't actually look too bad. Now I am kind of talking it up a bit, but it's just lots of little things. Okay, these rubber hoses here for that, yeah, they actually fit in perfectly, alright, but they don't look right. They look horrible. Okay, give that a bit of better light there and you can see what I'm talking about. It just, they just don't look the way they're supposed to, if you know what I mean. And I'm not being a rivet counter. I've been far from it, you know. I'm definitely somebody you couldn't call a rivet counter, but you can see where rivet counters will come in and criticise the living daylights out of this kit. Basically, because that when you think of it, that's basically what I'm doing. You know, like the tow cable, right? It's covering over the barrel cleaners. The fitting them was okay. It wasn't too bad at all. The top fit to the bottom quite easy. If you remember in the unboxing, I found this piece and I asked anybody what it was. It's basically to hold the batteries in place. I just stuck it in for the crack. I said, why not? It was there. There's gaps everywhere. Look down the side there. Okay, you got these big gaps. Now, I'm not doing any modifications to this kit. Purely, like I said, I'm making this kit as the way it came, just to kind of see both for myself and, you know, to show you how far modelling has come. Okay, what it kind of started off with, you know, with the TAMIYAs, how far, you know, from TAMIYA it kind of came from this. And I remember back when I really started getting into the modelling when I was a kid. I'd have loved this kit. I'd have gone ape for it. I really would have, because I used to build the Airfix 172nd, or were they 176? I think they were 172nd. I'm not 100% sure, but the Airfix tanks and things, and I had fun with them because I played with them. Never bothered with the painting side. There we go. Never bothered really with the painting side of things or anything like that. But you know, as most kids do, I made it, enjoyed the making of it, and then I played with it. So, you know, to me they were a toy, and there was a means to an end. But as an adult, I want to make them as a model kit. Now, it would be a great starter kit for kids to get kids interested in it. And you said, "Oh God, I'd like to build something a bit more exciting, you know, or a bit more to do, shall we say, and something that doesn't look so thrown together, shall we say, doesn't look so thrown together." Now, I will going to have to sort of fill these little gaps here and there, okay, but I'm going to have to fill them. They're a bit too wide. But I'm not going to do any filling or anything like that till the very, very end. Like I said, you know, lots of the holes and things in it, and these ventilation holes along the side, they're there purely so the motor doesn't overheat. Okay, they never really said that it was an accurate display of the Tiger. Nowhere does it say that, compared to, say, some of the modern kits will give you, say, a totally accurate version, or, you know, depiction of the Tiger 1 or whatever kit you are making. This just says it's a Tiger 1 early edition. There you go. And, you know, they're not far wrong. It's kind of, you end up with something that looks very, very like the Tiger 1. Okay, so back to our instructions anyway. Like I said, I'm not bothering with the hatches opening and closing. I glue them down. So on here now to the barrel, right? Now, 2-piece barrel, and then we've got the breech section here. Okay, breech section. So I get them done. That's what I do. I'll get the turret together. Okay, so for finished then we'll have the turret section done. So all I've left to do then will be to fit on the spare tracks, the rear mud guards, put the tracks on, make the 2 figures. That's it. The fastest build you'll ever see. So therefore, you know, it really, really is suitable for somebody that's thinking about getting into the hobby. A kid, you know, saying to themselves, might like to try this. If you could find that kit, a perfect kit to give them. Perfect kit for an adult, and for a kind of a medium to advanced modeler. Forget about it. Don't even bother. Right, so I can't carry on. I'll get those done. Okay, I'll get up as far as here, up as far as step 7. Right, I'll get that done. We'll have a look at it, and we'll see what that looks like. Okay. Okay, and as you can imagine, that did not take long. Okay, it did not take long, right? Put the barrel pieces together. Again, just after I saying how everything fitted absolutely beautiful in the last clip, onto the barrel, and it was horrible. It feckin' was horrible. I think actually one side was slightly bigger, one piece was actually slightly bigger than the other, and you know, you gotta kind of give it a good cleaning up, and you still end up with that deep groove between the two. I've tried filling it and God knows what else, but I think it's the type of plastic, it's that old plastic. But anyway, we've got a groove. Right, built up the brain has gone dead. This kit is killing my brain. It really is. We got the gun mantlet and the breech. Okay, tons of flash inside that, and the front of that had a load of flash as well. Don't want to worry too much about flash. We can clean off a bit of flash. It's not going to freaking kill us, is it? And I'm not going to whinge about flash. Okay, because it's part of modelling, and it's only a bit of a scrape or a bit of a clean. Yeah, yippee. Okay, you get it on modern kits as much as you do on old ones, especially if anybody's ever built a mini art, they know all about it. So anyway, put the two sides together, put in the stands, the other little fiddly bits, put the top on it, the hatches and the basket at the back, and the smoke launchers. Now wait till you see the smoke launchers. Just, we'll have a look at them. Okay, so here's our turret. Now everything goes up and down beautifully, right? It works, right? The commander's hatch opens and closes quite perfectly, right? As in, it opens and closes, but when you look at it, you'll say, oh, yeah, it opens and closes, but it's very crude. Okay, it's very toy-like, as opposed to, you know, modern models. Because you got to remember, this is back in, this thing was originally sort of designed back in 1970, when there really wasn't much competition out there. The modelling community would have been very small, and also, not only that, the technology in producing the kits isn't there, like, wasn't there compared to what's there now. So when we go off and you got these rivet counters and things, that everybody hates rivet counters. Well, not everybody. The rivet counters don't hate themselves, obviously, but when you got to look at the technology that's there now with moulding compared to the technology that was there back in 1970. Okay, this is actually quite a good kit from 1970. Okay, it's not bad at all. It's very toy-like as opposed to being model-like. Okay, we're kind of ruined, as in we're spoilt nowadays with the quality of mouldings and things like that. But you know, look at the smoke launchers there. Basically, they're smoke launchers. You can't deny it. Okay, they're the smoke launchers. Are they accurate? Are they sort of, you know, realistic looking? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But they're there. Okay, and back in the day, that was good enough. You really have to hand it to the likes of Shepherd Payne and those, who basically had these kits and made absolute fabulous things with them. But they've been spent maybe about 6 months in making a kit. And you know, they scratched loads of bits and pieces and made a fabulous diorama then to go with it. So you're kind of sidetracked by how good the diorama is, that you're not noticing the little things. Like, imagine what Shepherd Payne and those guys back in the day would be able to do now with some of the modern kits. Absolutely fabulous. But anyway, even when you put the turret on, you've got basically a Tiger 1, you know. Yeah, I got to put the tracks onto it yet. I got a few more bits and pieces to put onto it. But you got to compare it, you know. When you look at it now, we're comparing it to what's available now. And when you compare it to what's available now, this is a heap of shit. But when you compare it to what was available in 1970, and even 1980, 10 years after that, and 1984, when this actual version of it came out, where they added a couple of bits and pieces, although the bits and pieces, I must say, were from 1975, and all they did in 1984 was they reboxed it. But even still, when you compare it to what was out there, it was very, very limited out there. The hobby wasn't as big as it is now. Okay, and the reason the hobby is quite big now, if you look at it, I can guarantee you, most of us are now in our 50s and older that are making kits now. Okay, in other words, we were 10 and 12 when all these kits came out. I mean, I was 5 when this kit was originally designed. I'm 55 now, and I've gone back into the hobby. And this would have been, like I said, a grade A kit when I was a kid. You know, and you look at the model Tigers of today. Just for instance, now, oops, I'm going a bit of a reach up there now because I have it just on the shelf overhead me. Here is basically a Tiger E, right? It does have the different filters on it, but look at the look at the pipes on the back of that. Right. Look at the fire extinguisher. Okay. Look at the turret. Look at the smoke launchers. And look at the gun. Right? And then take this kit. Look at the smoke launchers. Those pipes, like I said. Right. What else was I saying? They're here. No, we do have a bit of dust in it, but I should have dusted it off before I looked at it. But the gun and all of that, you know, it's much more detailed. And then you've got sort of things like that you have with modern kits that you just probably couldn't do back in the day. For one, the plastic is totally different type of plastic, but in general, most of it is basically there, right? Now, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. This is the Academy one, and it doesn't have the you know, the little cutouts where you can do it in. But this was a fabulous kit to make. Really was an enjoyable kit to make, and detailed, very well detailed, even inside the hatch. Right. So you can't really compare a kit from 1970 to this one, right? You just can't do that. And you waste your time even trying. A bit of dust and fluff and God knows what else it collects up inside it. But the detail in that was absolutely brilliant. And even at that, you're going to have river counters coming off and saying how crude, and you know, oh, this wouldn't have been on that, and that wouldn't have been on it. I don't go into that much detail on what would have been on it and what wouldn't have been on it. I wouldn't know, to be honest with you, in the first place anyway. But let's carry on anyway with this. So I'm not going to even try and make any more comparisons. I'm just saying that the detail and the way of doing kits is much better now than it was back in 1970. Okay. This looks more like a toy. Now, when it's all painted up, we might end up with something a bit better. But that's all. We'll see. We'll see. Now, what I got to get done to this, I've only a small few bits and pieces to get to do to it. To put on the two side skirts, these things here. Okay, let me bring it up a bit closer so you can see. Okay, we got the side skirts to put on. We've got the that front piece here that holds in the spare track. Got a little step into it, and we've got two these towing eye things, and we've got the two rear mud guards, right? And we've also got the two figures to get made, right? And the tracks. So I'm going to get the last few bits of this done, put it all together, and we'll have a look at it before we get stuck into the painting. Okay. Stick with me. Stick with me. Hopefully it'll be worth it in the end, and we'll end up with something reasonably okay. I will try anyway. Okay. Okay, so here she is. It's completed. I've even got the figures made. We'll have a closer look at bits and pieces now and things as we go around it. I already basically showed the main body of the tank. Okay, so we'll just pop out the figures. Now, to get the figures in, I've actually had to chunk pieces off their legs so that they'd fit in, because they didn't want to fit in. But the figures themselves, they're okay. They're not too bad. Okay, we've seen better. Of course, we've seen better. Need a little bit of clean up. I'll do all that now in a while before I even start the painting on them. But there they are. There's the figures. Okay. Not too worried about seam lines and things sort of down their legs and things like that. It's more on the body, because they'll be only seen from sort of there up anyway, right? But you know, they are what they are. As we saw from the dates of them, they're from 1968. Okay, so pretty basic. Okay, a little bit of filling needed here on the shoulders. The turret, I popped that off. Look at it. We already had a look at it earlier on. Nothing more I've added to it. Like I said, you know, it's basic. It really, really is basic. Those small clenchers are they're a bit laughable, you know. But as a model, and considering the time when it was made, it's not that bad, you know. When we go comparing it to, say, modern kits, yeah, it's basically a piece of rubbish. But as you know, a starter kit, considering the age of the kit, you know, not to be taken into account there really, so it's not really that bad. I am after adding an antenna, okay, and I do it the old school way. I normally go for make my antenna out of guitar string, leave a bit of spring on it and all that kind of stuff, to end up with a nice grand one. But seeing as this is a retro kit, I decided to do it the old-fashioned way and a bit of stretched sprue. Now, one of the worst parts of this tank were the tracks. Okay, yes, there were rubber band tracks. That didn't bother me too much. There's no detail on the inside of the tracks, you know, and also, I mean, I had to glue them down in places, and even at that, they're still, they were far too big. They really, really were far too big. But you know, a bit of super glue glued them down onto the things. Otherwise, they looked as if they were going to fall off, to be quite honest with you. Okay, so with a bit of painting and a bit of effects, might be able to do something with them. Okay, another thing, the spare tracks here on the front. Now, if you look at it from that side, the detail isn't that bad. Okay, it's not that bad. It's not maybe not 100% accurate or anything else, but there's detail there. Okay, which is all well and grand, except for the fact that when you mount the tracks, you mount them in that way, right? Pop them in down there. When you see them from this side, there's no detail whatsoever on the inside of those tracks. Now, take, say, maybe a slightly more modern kit. This is the Academy one. Okay, same idea. The tracks is just a one-piece thing. You don't have to go putting tracks together. Near enough the same length. And from that side, you can see, yeah, they're slightly more better detailed. Right. Now these ones are painted up, these ones aren't, but you can see even with the detail of them. They're slightly better detailed. Plus on these ones, we've got a bit of detail on the inside of the tracks. Didn't worry too much about that ejector pin mark, because when you pop it into the front, that ejector pin mark was covered by the holder, so I didn't really bother too much about them. But when you get to these ones, there is absolutely nothing there. Not a dicky. Okay, no detail whatsoever. Now, as you can see, you know, that's freaking horrible, big ejector pin mark right at the top. So more than likely, probably people wouldn't use them. I'm going to use them, like I said. This is a retro kit. and I'm going to do it as it says in the box, out of the box, whatever you want to call it. Nothing added to it. So we'll see what it turns out like when it's all painted. And to watch what it's like when it's all painted, you'll have to watch the next installment. Yes, build update number 2. And build update number 2, I get it painted and I get a final reveal on it. So that's it for video number 1, the build. Hope you found it interesting. Okay, we'll say that. We won't say informative or educational. We'll call it interesting. Okay, interesting. Hope you find it interesting. So stay tuned to the channel for build update number 2, and stay tuned to the channel for further updates on further builds, and have a look back at some of the previous builds as well if you're new to the channel. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you have already subscribed, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. So until I see you again, stay safe, enjoy your modelling, have a nice time, be nice to one another, and remember, I view modelling as a hobby. It's not, I don't take it too serious. I don't enter competitions or anything like that. So my channel is basically for the people that are like me, that just get a bit of enjoyment out of it. Okay, and we enjoy what we do. We end up with something reasonably nice, stick it up on the shelf and goes, hey, that looks freaking cool, and I made that. Okay, so until I meet you again, stay safe, catch you on the next one. In the meantime, go out and buy yourself a kit, build it, and enjoy it. It's John signing off and saying, I'll catch you on the next one, lads. Stay safe.